This is a reconstruction of a real therapy session based on true stories, real emotions. It's a series. One story unfolds over several episodes, and this time it begins with this. I keep putting things off. Sounds like procrastination, but soon it becomes clear it's not about laziness. What's really keeping us from starting? Why do we put off even the things we love? And what's underneath that quiet voice that says, not yet, it's not time? Chapter 1. I'm not lazy. I'm afraid to disappoint myself. What do you want from this session?
I just want to stop putting things off. I keep procrastinating. If I plan something in advance, especially if it's something new, it suddenly gets hard to start. But if it's spontaneous and I get curious, I can spend hours on it. Doesn't matter if it's easy or hard. What matters is I'm interested. But as soon as I try to turn that into a routine, I feel blocked. It's not like I'm undisciplined. Definitely not. Some people are more structured. I get that. But I'm not someone who makes a plan and forgets about it. That's not who I am. It's just starting. That's hard. Even with simple things, if it's new and scheduled, it's still hard to begin. Right now, I really badly want to start a YouTube channel. I know the topic. It's my field, though. I know it well. I've got a format in mind. At first, I kept putting it off. Too much going on with work and family. I just couldn't juggle everything. Then I thought, maybe it was the computer. My old one wasn't strong enough. It might crash, and the result would be awful. But even that's been sorted now. And still, the problem hasn't gone anywhere. I keep thinking about it. I picture myself making videos. I've watched so many tutorials, how to grow a channel and how to edit, everything. But I'm still not doing anything.
When you say, I'm not doing anything, can you tell what feels strongest in that moment? Is it shame, guilt, fear, or something else?
There are weeks when I really do need to focus on work or family, and that's totally fair. But most days, I actually have a couple of free hours I could spend on content. And when I realize that, it honestly makes me happy. Really, happy. Because the best part is, it all depends on me. My consistency, my energy, my skills. I don't have to wait years. I don't need a huge budget. I don't need anyone's help or their permission. I can do it all myself. And that genuinely gives me energy. But then the day comes, the one I planned for content. An hour before, I'm excited. I feel great. But the moment it's time, the anxiety just slams into me. I can't even open the laptop. I can't open Word to start writing. Everything tightens, my chest, my head. It all gets heavy and foggy, and I get scared. And in that moment, work is the last thing I can do. All I want is to escape, just to calm myself down, somehow. I might throw on someone else's video, not because I care what it is, but just so I can breathe.
Can you remember how the anxiety usually starts? Is it more of a thought, a physical feeling, or is it like a fog rolling in?
I can't really pin it down. It starts really subtly, almost like you barely notice it. Like, let's say I plan to start working on content at 7 p.m., even 10 minutes before. I'm in a great mood, energized, even kind of excited. I picture myself starting, and I'm genuinely happy. But the second it hits 7, everything shifts. I think, okay, here we go. Time to start. And suddenly, I just tense up inside. I'm super punctual, by the way. I always plan ahead. I'm almost never late. But right in that moment, those very first minutes, it's like a wave. Just rolls over me. My chest tightens. My head fogs up. And it feels like I'm standing on a cliff. Supposed to jump, but I can't see where. Or what's down there. I don't know what this feeling is. I don't know where I'm meant to go. And all of that, turns into this weird in-between state, where I don't know what's going on and I'm just scared.
Has it ever happened that you really wanted to start? You had the interest, the drive, but right at the moment to begin, that same feeling came back.
Oh, yeah. So many times. It's been like this for years, since college, actually. Whenever I signed up for interviews, it always followed the same pattern. If there was a line, I was fine. I could sit and wait. But the second I realized I was next, I'd get up and leave. And if no one was there, I'd just turn around and go. Say something like, "Oh, sorry, wrong building," and walk out. It turned into a habit. It just kept happening. What usually kept me going was knowing someone else was counting on me. If I'd promised someone something, I showed up. Even if I was terrified. Not because the fear wasn't there. It absolutely was. But because I couldn't let them down. There's one time I remember really clearly. A friend of mine called. We worked in the same field, helped each other a lot. He said, "There's a workshop tomorrow. Our speaker canceled. Can you step in?" It was my topic. I knew it well. And I could hear in his voice, he really needed help. I said, "Yeah, I can try. Send me the outline." He did. I went through it and realized not only could I handle it, I could actually make it better. That night, I started prepping. Stayed up late, working through everything. Next day, I was at my job, but during every break, I reviewed the material. Evening came. Workshop time. He said maybe 10 people would be there. Not a big crowd. I've led meetings for more. At work. So yeah, I was nervous, but it should have been fine. I got there. They welcomed me, offered me coffee. People started arriving. Everyone seemed normal. Calm. I was sitting there, feeling okay. Then it was time to go in. And then everything hit me at once. I walked toward the table, and I was so scared, I physically couldn't say anything. My hands were shaking. My head fogged up. I turned around and stepped out, and everyone was looking at me. I said, "Just a sec. I need to grab some markers." Someone even said, "They're right there, on the table." But I just needed to get out. I stood in the hallway thinking, how do I tell my friend I can't do this? People came, took time out of their day. I was angry with myself. Why didn't I just say no yesterday? He could have asked someone else. And honestly, the thought of fainting crossed my mind. Really. I was like, should I just faint here? In the hallway? Or go back in and do it there? But it all felt so ridiculous, that even that didn't feel like an option. And the only reason I went back in was because I couldn't let him down. I walked back to the table, hands shaking, voice shaking. I thought, if I talk like this, no one will take me seriously. Then I suddenly thought, maybe I can let them speak first. So I introduced myself and asked everyone to quickly say why they came, what they were hoping to get from the session. And as they spoke, I slowly started to calm down. And then it just came. I ran the whole workshop. But I know that if this had been just for me, just my own thing, I probably would have walked away. If I can push something to tomorrow, I will.
So, when it's just for you, when no one's asking, the fear gets stronger. But when someone else needs it, you find the strength to follow through. What about this YouTube channel? Do you want it for yourself, or is it more for someone else?
I want to start it because I'm curious and because I want to reach more people. Without YouTube, I can still help people, just not that many. But if it works, it's also a way to earn and to express myself. Like finally doing something that's truly mine. But the moment I sit down to work on that first video, the anxiety kicks in. And right away I get this thought, what if it just turns out bad?
What exactly worries you in that moment?
What really gets me is the thought that I'll look at it and it'll just be awful. Or worse, pointless. It's not even about putting it out there. It kicks in way earlier, right in the middle of making it. I sit there, pouring in hours, sometimes even days, and then I look at it and think, oh God, what even is this? What was I thinking?
Maybe it's not the fear of failing in the end, but that moment halfway through, when you look at what you've made and think, this isn't what I hoped for. Why did I even try? It's not about what others will say. It's about what you'll say to yourself. I gave it everything. And still, it didn't work. Again. That's where the real pain is. Not in how it ends, but in feeling like you believed, you tried, and you were wrong. Again. But what if the point of the first step wasn't to be perfect, just to get started, not to impress, not to prove, just to move?
Yeah. If I really knew it's not about proving anything, just one step. Not perfect, not amazing, just a beginning. Then maybe I could handle it. I'd say to myself, this is one part, just one piece of the whole. And even if it's rough, there'll be more chances. More steps, and I'll keep going.
There it is. That's the heart of it. It's just one screw, not the final result, not a verdict, not proof of your worth, just a part of the system. You don't have to deliver a masterpiece right away. You're building a mechanism where every step triggers the next. If the screw's in, the whole thing starts turning. But if you hold it, hesitating, judging, the system stalls. So right now, the question isn't, what if it's bad? It's, will this move me forward? If yes, place it and move on. If not, replace it. But don't stop moving.
Yeah, but you see, it's hard for me to start. Because right from the beginning, I already feel like it's going to turn out bad. If I knew it was just one piece, and that more were coming where I could do better, I'd probably go for it. Like in class, if one exercise doesn't work out, I tell myself, okay, that one didn't go great, but there are more. I still have chances to do better. But if I write a bad script for a YouTube video, then it feels like no amount of editing or music could fix it. So if I mess it up at step 1, the rest just feels pointless. I won't even feel like continuing. If I knew it was just a base, something that won't even show, that it doesn't have to be pretty, just needs to be there, and I can build on top of it, decorate it, shape it, then maybe it wouldn't feel so scary. But right now, it feels like if that first screw is off, the whole structure feels fragile, like it could collapse before I even get to build it.
And what if you were the one to decide it's not a failure, but a foundation for the next step? Could you write the next line? Keep the camera rolling. Not a perfect beginning, but one solid enough to stand on. Just a step forward.
Let me try to explain again. I feel like you might have misunderstood me. I don't want to make just a base, like in construction where it gets covered up later. The script is the foundation, but it's also right there, front and center. People will see it, and if it turns out bad, no editing, no music, nothing will save it. So for me to move past that first step, it has to be at least something I feel okay about. Not perfect, but something I'm not ashamed of. Something I can look at and say, okay, this isn't a masterpiece, but I can live with it. I can see where to improve next time, and that's okay. But right now, it feels like it'll come out so wrong that I'll feel so turned off, I won't even want to see it again, too.
You don't just want to start, you want to stand by what you say. So the question isn't, how do I make it perfect? It's, what is it I really want to say, even if it's messy, not to get approval, but because there's something in you that needs to be said. So tell me, what do you want to share in that video? Not because it's flawless, but because it's yours, real, alive, needed.
So what you're saying is, I don't have to carry the weight of the whole script right away? Right now, I look at it like this massive task, and right away I think, it's going to suck. Because in my head, I'm already judging the entire result before I even begin. But you're saying, don't think about the whole thing yet. Just focus on what really needs to be said. Not the structure, but the message that wants to come through. Then from those core thoughts, I can build the rest. So instead of staring at a blank page like it's some kind of test I can fail, it becomes, what do I truly want to say on this topic, in this video? Just write down the main things I want to express. Did I get that right? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, exactly that. Right now, you're staring at a blank page like it's an exam. I need to sit down and deliver something worthy, right now. and that just freezes you. But I'm offering a different angle, not write a script, but ask yourself, what do I genuinely want to say? What do I want the viewer to understand? What thought absolutely needs to come through? What feeling do I want to pass on? Only then you begin. Not with a script, just with a thought you trust, and build from there. Because the goal isn't to make it pretty, it's to say something that matters.
Oh, so first I just need to ask myself, why am I even making this video? If it's informational, what messages do I really want to share? If it's to get attention, then I need to talk about what's current. If it's to help someone, then I need to understand what might actually help them. Yeah, that does feel easier. I can feel it happening. I'm shifting from fear to curiosity. I'm actually starting to feel interested. I don't feel anxious anymore, because now the task feels clearer, more manageable, and now I see it. I just need to figure out what I really want to explore in this video.
Yes, that's exactly the shift we're looking for. That's how the move from anxiety to interest really happens. Not by pushing through, but by getting clear. When you know why you're speaking, you stop worrying about how it'll look. The script isn't the final product. It's not a test. It's just a tool to express what's already forming inside you. And now, your task isn't to make something you'll be proud of, but to keep asking yourself as you write, what kind of video is this? Support? Reflection? Breaking illusions? Inspiration? What do I want the viewer to feel? What should they understand about themselves or the world? And what's my core message? The one line that made me sit down and start writing.
Yes, that why question. It really is everything. Because when I sit down and think this is probably going to turn out bad, I don't even know why I'm doing it. Why spend the time? Why put myself through that again just to feel like I'm failing? But when I ask, why do I want to say this to people? The answer shows up. Because it matters. Because it's my point of view. And that's what being a blogger is, right? You share your perspective through information, right? Right. And I do have something to say. And now I'm starting to feel whole again. Before, I felt helpless, like an imposter. Like, who am I to try and make something useful when I feel this lost? But saying it all out loud, honestly, it's kind of funny now, and it gives me strength. I can even laugh at myself a little.
What you're doing right now isn't just talking. You're putting yourself back together. Let's look at what you've already done. You stopped chasing perfection and started searching for meaning. You stopped judging the result and went back to the beginning. Why do I even want to be a blogger? You stopped seeing yourself as small and started thinking like a creator, someone who has something to say. That's what it means to grow into your role. Let's hold on to that. You're not a rough draft that constantly needs fixing. You're an author, just getting started, but already knowing why you want to speak. And that's where the real work begins, not with perfection, but with a reason that's honest. A blogger isn't someone who gets it right every time. It's someone who keeps showing up, even when it's not perfect. Their superpower isn't flawless execution. It's having something worth saying.
First of all, I realized I'm afraid I'll make something I won't even like myself. I've got a really strong inner critic, and it might just shut down everything I make. That's one of the biggest reasons I procrastinate. And second, that critic isn't scared of the result. It's scared of the process, afraid the whole thing will come out wrong. That's what really explains why I don't start. Not because I'm lazy, or dumb, or weak, or scared. There's just this filter in my head that makes starting feel impossible. It says, why make something if you're just going to hate it later? And the moment I sit down to create, I raise the bar instantly. Like I'm telling myself, you're just starting out, but it better be good. But honestly, I'm still learning. And for the longest time, I couldn't convince myself that's okay. Now I see. The approach has to change. It's not about fighting the critic, it's about letting it speak. Before I even begin, saying, okay, what matters to you? What absolutely has to be in the video? Because that critic, then, it's not cruel. It's actually trying to help. It says, don't waste your time, or anyone else's, if this isn't going to be worth it. It's like this internal judge, fair but seriously intense. So now I don't put it in the jury box to judge my creative side. I let it go first. It gets the floor. What's this really about? What needs to come through? And then Tae, my creative side, just brings that to life. And if the critic starts grumbling later, I can say, hey, this was your idea. And suddenly, it's not scary anymore. It feels like I'm finally having a real conversation with myself. And even if that sounds a little weird, it's not crazy. It's actually calming.
You're not broken. You're just, for the first time, clearly seeing how your defense works. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's fear of doing something badly. Because deep down, there's a critic who won't allow mistakes, not because he's cruel, but because he's scared it'll all be for nothing. He says, why bother if it's just going to turn into a mess? In the past, he used to shut you down. But now, you're learning to work with him, not to fight, but to listen, not to obey, but to bring him into the conversation. He doesn't have to be the judge anymore. He can become your strategist. Let him speak first. What matters? What's the point? What needs to be said? And then, let your creative side bring that to life. Because when the critic stops being the accuser, that's when things begin to move. You stop fighting yourself. You start realigning your inner system so that every part works together, not against each other.
Yes, that's exactly it. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's the critic's impossible expectations. The bar is set way too high from the start, and the critic kind of provokes the creative part, which is really sensitive. Because when you're protecting something, it usually means something inside is soft, exposed. I feel like a kid coming to a strict parent and asking, "Can I?" And the parent just says, "No, you can't."
Yes, what you just said, most people never admit out loud. You're not lazy. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just still learning to protect yourself. There's a creative part in you, alive, sensitive, in motion. And every time it tries to speak, that voice shows up again. The one that says, if it's not perfect, don't even try. But that's not care. That's control, dressed up as protection. Now, you're changing that order. You don't have to convince the critic. You don't have to pass some inner test just to be allowed to begin. Your task now is to build a process where the critic doesn't get in the way. And that's possible. When you give him a limited role, let him speak first. What matters? What needs to be said? Why is this worth doing? And after that, he steps back. By the way, do you remember when that voice first appeared? Maybe there was a time you shared something important with someone, and they said, this is bad, not enough, do it over.
My mom used to just be my mom, and I loved making her happy. I'd show her crafts, drawings, even made her earrings. But later, when I started middle school, she became my teacher. She said I was lucky. That'll be great. You'll understand things better. And if something's confusing, I'll explain it at home. And I believed her. But that's not how it turned out. The pressure was intense. She'd say things like, "How can I be a good teacher if I can't even teach my own child? You should know this already." And when something was hard, there was nowhere to escape. Most kids leave school behind when they go home, but my teacher came home with me, and she didn't stop. Reminders, criticism, humiliation, no weekends, no breaks. It was constant. I didn't even get the space to try new things. I remember the shame. Like, how could I spend time on anything extra if I hadn't even nailed the basics and gotten top marks? And when I did try something creative, I'd hear, "This is what you spent your time on?" I still remember that exact line. And if I made a mistake, it started to feel dangerous because it would come back later, again and again. There was no escaping it. Now I see, procrastination isn't weakness. It's not laziness. It's protection. You're protecting yourself from going through that kind of pain again. And when I look at it like that, what comes up isn't fear. It's warmth, a kind of tenderness. Because if you're protecting something, then something in you is tender, vulnerable, and I want to be kind to that part. I don't want to create for the inner critic. The one who acts like a judge and says, "Prove you can do this. But just so you know, gay, it'll probably be bad." I want to create for the part of me that's just scared. And I want to say to her, "It's okay. I'm here. Let's try this. Together." Maybe I can start making things, not even for YouTube, but for her. And if it doesn't turn out great, I won't tear myself apart. I'll say, "You did good. You gave it a shot, you stuck with it, you showed up. This part, that turned out well too. And this, we'll do better next time." I used to imagine finishing a script and hearing right away, "You did it wrong." Because that was the pattern. My mom would say, "Wrong, wrong, wrong, wrong." And even if she praised me after, I never heard it. Because by then, I'd already been crushed. But now, I want to talk to myself differently. I want to say, "You did great." And here, "You did great too." Even if it's not perfect, I already feel what I can be proud of. I used to only have the critic inside me, but now, there's another part, a gentle one. And when I feel her, it's strange to think I ever criticize someone who is just trying to protect herself. A critic can be fair, I get that, but not when he targets the softest part of me. It's not the critic standing next to me. Now it's the gentle part. The one who says, "Come on out, I'm right here. It's okay. Don't be afraid."
Before you used to think, if I do badly, I'll be hard on myself, so better not to do it at all. That feels safer. But now that for the first time, you felt something different. Even if I mess up, I'll support myself, because just deciding to try, that alone is something to be proud of. Would you like to give this new part of you a name? The one that's warm, supportive.
I'd call that part my caring parent, because for a long time, I only had the strict parent inside me. The one who kept raising the bar, who always expected more, and could be really harsh. In his system, if it's not perfect, it's no good. He'd say, "This script, it's a C at best." And that's it. No encouragement, just judgment. But now, there's another parent, a warm, supportive one. The one who says, "Okay, let's start. You're already doing well, just for showing up." This one sees more than just the result. He sees the effort, the patience, the courage to face fear, the wish to express something real, the curiosity to explore. And when he's there, that scary voice inside just softens. And in its place, there's warmth. So much so, it almost brings me to tears. Is that okay to feel?
That's absolutely normal. More than that, it's deep, and it matters. Your tears, they're not weakness. They're what happens when something frozen finally starts to melt. This time, you didn't turn away from yourself, even if things weren't perfect. You're finally saying to yourself, "I see how hard this is for you, and I'm here." That is the voice of the caring parent you're now growing inside. The strict one, he's not the enemy. He just showed up before you had any inner support to lean on. He knew how to demand, but not how to support. Now, you're teaching yourself, and you're doing it honestly, clearly, and with a deep kind of strength. Do you feel like your tears might be about that, or is there something else they're holding?
I think I'm crying because it's the first time I've really acknowledged how much I've done. Up until now, I've been minimizing everything I've done. Like no one ever noticed how hard I was trying. Not even me. And now I finally see it. I'm not just looking for excuses. I'm genuinely trying to understand myself. And I really want to support that. Not just say good job, but truly thank myself for not giving up, for trying again and again, for coming back to it. Even just being here, talking about this, that really means something to me. Maybe that's what I missed as a kid. Someone to notice how much I was trying, not just look at the outcome and say, "That's not enough." I took that voice in, and it became mine, telling me, "Not good, not enough, try harder." And even when I tried to push myself, so it came from shame. "You're lazy. You didn't do it again." And of course, though, nothing good could grow from that. But now, it's different. I'm not starting with "I have to." I'm beginning from a place of curiosity. With a question, what do I want to say? Why does it matter? Who could this help? And now, what I feel isn't anxiety. It's gratitude. It's a warm feeling. Like maybe now, I can create out of love. Not fear, not sadness, not anymore.
What you just did wasn't a step, it was a crossing through the place you used to drown in every time. This is a different kind of relationship with yourself now, not built on pressure, but on respect. Your task: pick any topic, something that already speaks to you, and ask yourself just one question. What's the core message I want to share with others through this? Not a script, not about how to begin, but why does it matter that people hear it? What's so important that you no longer want to stay silent? This isn't an exercise in writing. It's an invitation to speak, not from fear, but from meaning. Can I ask, what are you leaving with today? What felt most important in this conversation?
Thank you. Really, thank you. I'm leaving with the sense that all this time I wasn't stuck. I was protecting myself. And now that I understand that, I feel clear and grateful and full of love. Not for the outcome, but for the part of me that kept going. That didn't give up, even when I didn't understand what was happening. I want to create my YouTube channel not from fear, but from fullness. Not to please, but because I truly have something to say. And I finally believe myself. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be true. First, I need to know what I want to say, why it matters, how it might help someone, what I truly want someone to hear. Some will connect with it, some won't. But that's not the point. I'm not doing it for likes. I'm doing it because I have something real to share. And now, what I feel isn't anxiety. It's gratitude. It's a warm feeling. It's warm, it's steady, and it's mine. Like I finally came home to myself. Like maybe now, I can create from love. Not fear, not sadness, like before.